Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Okay, Ntisi Williams, he is the Technical Director of Nigerian Rugby Federation. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here. Morning, viewers.
What's happening in the Federation? That's where I'm starting from. Because for a while now, we've not had the league. And of course, we learned that Friends of Rugby is practically dead.
Thanks very much. Rugby in Nigeria has it's probably on a standstill right now.
Okay.
Because rugby alongside with 10 other sporting federations were concessions some 4 years ago.
Yes.
And right now the concession had lapsed on the 9th of June. And because of that, you have a situation where people are not sure whether they are still in charge or what's next.
Okay.
So as of this year, a couple of international games took place, which Nigeria participated and did quite well in it, with foreign-based players, predominantly.
Okay, with foreign-based players.
Yeah, predominantly foreign-based players.
Because the league here was not in session.
Not because the league was not in session, but because it's easier
to just get them, because they always give
for
for competition.
To get them. Yes, and unfortunately there's not that much involvement of the domestic Nigerian players, in the development of rugby in Nigeria.
Okay.
So that's kind of like not too good for rugby development in Nigeria, in the sense that the foreign-based players, yes, they are Nigerians. They have the rights to play for Nigeria, but at the same time, the domestic players also have their rights to also play for Nigeria. And it will be more appreciated if we actually get to see the two. They come to Nigeria, they actually come to Nigeria, and you get to see them, just like you see our Super Eagles, both foreign and local base.
But how come that is not possible? They can't fly them in to actually train together?
I think it's just the way it was being organized.
Okay, but they can actually fly them in, and they can come here in Nigeria for 1, 2, 3
actually,
days
it is a necessity for them to have the patriotism for the country to which they are representing.
Because that's when we can identify with them. You can't just bring a crop of players from all walks of life and say, okay, this is actually the Nigerian team. Because but they will not be able to identify with them. We actually want to see those players that we see playing week in, week out at the over.
We want to see them training together. We want to see the domestic players vying for the same opportunity with them here at home in Nigeria.
But how can this be done?
Definitely, this will be done.
How?
By the time we settle the politics of elections, which is meant to be
well, can you just tell us more about that, because that is really affecting the commencement of the league.
Yes, we you see, after this 9th of June, when the documents for the concessions were signed, that document becomes elapses in a sense, and the National Sports Commission now needs to give a direction. We're waiting for that direction, and I think after this Ramadan, we should be able to see a direction, and the direction should be in a democratic form of setting up a federation, which is the normal thing to do, because concession, unfortunately, is not within the structure of sporting administration. You don't concession sporting federation. It's not your property in the first place. You only you buy into a federation, the international body, and if you meet up with the guidelines, rules and regulations, you're there. If you don't, you could be suspended or expelled altogether. So a democratic process to put on the board of the federation is what is needed right now, and again, that will help us to avoid.
How soon can this be done?
I mean, they've done it for the other sports which were elected the last time, and it's just this 11 which I think the minister was waiting not to get involved in any legal tussle with anybody. Let the concession expire. And that has happened. Now it's for him to set up the guidelines to enable the 11 sporting stakeholders, go out there and put on who they want to lead the board.
Okay.
That's the needful thing to do.
Okay.
Then after that, you would now start seeing development,
Okay.
taking place.
But from all indication, it's going to be a very, very long process.
No, it's not a long process. It's something that can be done within a month.
But why? Because I ask you, why is this taking so long? Because the league is suffering.
Yes, exactly. The league is suffering, and that's why we're appealing to the National Sports Commission. The Honorable Minister, please, let's get to do the needful, and let's get, sports back onto its track. Right now, there's not been a league in Nigeria.
Exactly.
And this is something which a group of people have been sponsoring for the last 7 years.
That's the Friends of Rugby.
Exactly.
And right now, it's no more.
It's been by their own funds, and when you see a situation where you're not in charge, you may be in charge, sponsors are not prepared to,
of course, to put in
come
the
on.
money.
Exactly. People were prepared to sponsor a major tournament this year for us, but right now they're all waiting to see, what comes on board very soon. And we're just appealing to the Honorable Minister. We know he's going to do the right thing, to please get it done as soon as possible, and let's start having some meaningful development for the next 4 years, because that's the tenureship of each board.
Okay. Now, internationally, where is Nigeria placed in rugby right now?
Well, that's one of the plots which I would say was recorded this year. For the first time, we actually gained standings on the International Rugby Board scale. We got like 11 points.
Okay.
Up the ladder.
Okay. How was this done?
Something.
Okay. That's surprising because there's no league and there's a whole lot of tussle, concessioning, and all that.
Yes, the International Rugby Board. Yes, the International Rugby Board standing is just like the FIFA.
Standing,
yes, and it's to do with how many international games you play with the international board members.
Okay.
So any other games you play outside that is not counted.
Okay.
So we did quite well in 2 events that we went to this year.
Yeah, of course, because we use foreign-based players. Which
yeah,
is
we could do this. We could do good as well with the local-based players infused in there. I mean, just like what Big Boss Stephen Keshi is doing for the Super Eagles.
Okay.
We can actually marry the two, and especially the major point there is the fact that we actually need to see, Nigerians need to see these foreign-based players here in Nigeria, in the national stadium, train together with the local-based players, give them the chance to say, yes, you're a foreign player, I'm a domestic player, I should be able to play like you, or get better. And that gives us a good leverage for development in the country.
Okay, we're expecting that very soon that the sports minister should be able to resolve the whole issue. And of course, we'll have a board and the league will start very soon. Thank you, Williams, for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
Hope to have you again.
Bless you.
All right, Tayo Salam will be joining me for People's Review and, of course, for every other discussions concerning the minister. Also promising that the Super Eagles, that is the 1994 winning squad, they went to the World Cup, US 94, remember, and, of course, 1994, they won the Nations Cup in Tunisia. They were promised houses and some lots of money, but they didn't get it, and that was during Abacha's administration. He has met with some of the players, Austin Eguavoen and Victor Ekpeba, and, of course, he's promised them that that will be done. He will be meeting with the Federation